Good morning, all you red-blooded, hard-working American citizens. Welcome back to my table. Today I want to talk a little bit about the school system in our state, at least. There's a couple things been going on, so right here, let's dabble into this.
Nearly $10 million in bonuses were approved today for the money managers of the state teachers' retirement system, even though the investment fund they manage lost $3 billion in the past year.
Did you hear what she said? She said the investors are giving themselves a $10 million bonus, even though they lost $3 billion in the Ohio pension fund or whatever that's traded on the stock market. You see how these crooks rob us? I'm not for giving bonuses to people who underperform at all, in any situation.
Retirees who have gone years without their promised annual cost of living adjustment say it's a slap in the face to award bonuses to the investors when the pension fund they manage is in the red.
You know, if you ever want to get in touch with your anger, all you ever have to do is go to an STRS board meeting.
The term shared sacrifice. They have never sacrificed anything for our benefit. It's our money.
Money that seems to be draining away. The fund down $3 billion and $10 million out the door in bonuses. Board members who voted yes said the investors met certain benchmarks.
They talk about meeting a 5-year benchmark. Our 5-year benchmark is we're down almost a quarter for 25% of our purchasing power. So I just don't understand how they can enrich themselves at our expense.
In the education world, benchmarks mean something. It's what we want our children to meet. But evidently, SRS can do anything they want and still meet their benchmarks. Very discouraging.
But a spokesman for STRS tells me the losses could have been even greater if those benchmarks had not been met.
Preserving $1.8 billion in a market downturn is outstanding performance.
But preserving $1.8 billion while you're losing $3 billion, is that an outstanding performance? There's still $3 billion in the hole, right? I guess the logic of this I'm just missing.
Well, we have to invest the money in somewhere to grow the assets. We're anticipating the assets growing at 7% per year. So even with the
they're anticipating that the assets will grow, but we don't know, especially after COVID. Come on, folks. We can't be that ignorant to buy this bullshit. The same thing occurred back when we legalized gambling in the casinos, back with Kasich. So what happened with that was Kasich pulled money out of the school system, and my kids suffered because of it. Because they anticipated rough estimates how much the casino was going to make for its first year. Well, guess what, folks? The casino came up short. Just like this prick, their pension fund is going to come up short. I don't know if you noticed or not, but things are slowing down. So, tired of these people lying to us. You guys, you school teachers in every district in my state, by all means, all you have to do is go to the secretary and get the school budget and look and read what those definitions are for where the money goes. Last time I did that for Jeromesville, which was Hillsdale School District, I found 3 specific spots to where I scheduled an appointment with the treasurer to answer, how does this money touch the kids? After the first question, fortunately enough for her, the superintendent, Mr. Roscoe, for the district, that's been there for 20 years, which was retiring at the end of that year too, he come walking through. He had to go through her office to get to his office. And she's like, oh, Mr. Roscoe will be better to answer your questions. Because, yes, my questions come at go towards the top. I want the top people to answer these questions because they're the decision makers. And now they're doing it to the teachers. At least some of the teachers are looking at it now. And it's being talked about. Finally. After all these years, the educators are looking into their pension plans. Once you retire, now you have to deal with it when you're not getting your cost of living bonuses. Shit pisses me off. We need to do something about it. I have an idea. Stop voting for Democrats and Republicans, folks. Show up to vote, but just vote independent and third party. And hell, if you can write in a name, you can write in my name. Even though I didn't do what it took to be a write-in. At least you're using your vote to matter compared to not. Took Democrats and Republicans to get us in this terrible that we're in. Both sides through my life, through your life too. They've been duping us. Now they're just straight giving bulk of the money to rich people. Instead of fixing these problems. So, carry on.
Underperformance of the market this year, over the last couple of years, over the last 5 years, we're meeting that 7% annual return.
But retirees say that's not true. When the numbers appeared to be up, they say it was because of member sacrifices.
The actives are paying more, working longer, receiving less. The retirees have had their COLA frozen. None of it is based on the comeback, based on the investments and what the investors have been doing. So it's really, are they just going to keep taking and taking and taking from the active members and the retirees? Because that's how the fund is balancing itself.
Now, retirees say they are counting on the 3 new board members who take office next month to turn the ship around, to insist on an accurate audit and then act on it, and to take care of members before investors.
Just you kind of like they feel more strongly that they need to take care of them than they do us.
Okay. So, I caught wind of that back around the 20th.
Joining us now, I'm delighted
And now we got this. This popped up. Well, Jimmy did a show on it on the 26th, so about a week later. He's pretty on top of current events.
This is Columbus, Ohio. 4,500 teachers are out on strike here. We're on the picket line. Let's listen to them. The energy's freaking incredible out here. Let's listen to what they got to say.
I have been teaching for 23 years, all in Columbus, and I teach high school English. My name is Regina Fuentes, and I'm the DEA spokesperson.
Tell me about why the teachers are out on strike today in Columbus.
Columbus City Schools is over 100 years old. We've only just in the last maybe 2 decades started rebuilding schools. We're dealing with, mice and bugs and just lights going out or power outages heat that doesn't work, windows that don't open, or, doors that won't lock. There's all these things we should.
With all these school shootings and all these different things occurring, they're making our kids like, the public school system is not a place I would want to send my kid. None of them. For all sorts of different reasons. I decided to try to homeschool. Well, me and my son decided that we were going to try to do the homeschooling thing. It lasted approximately 2 years. And then his senior year, he wanted to go to a brick and mortar school. So he did. And that was the year that they shut that stuff down for COVID. So at least for the past 2 years, he already knew how to do a homeschooling with the computer stuff. A lot of the other kids didn't. We got lucky. Knock on wood.
Be dealing with,
Hard for a child to learn under the.
hard for a child to learn. They can't learn, they can't function, and the district really needs to realize that. And another thing we're asking for is to reduce the class sizes. We also want to have our elementary schools to have things like PE and art and music.
Now, I heard about this thing years ago, like art and music and PE being stripped because of the budget, when we can give $54 billion to another country so they can have art. It's literally insane, folks. What are we going to do about it? I have some ideas.
With your social emotional well-being. You may have a PE teacher who has to go to maybe 3-4 buildings. Doesn't make any sense. We're using our power right now in this way in order to let them know that you need us in order to keep this machine moving.
What do you want the general?
Yes. That is exactly where our power lies. And I don't care what industry you're in. Just as a worker, that is where our power lies. We need to start uniting as workers. There's a lot of things coming down the pipeline that you're not going to believe me because your Fox News and MSNBC didn't tell you. So I'm not going to talk about it till it happens. And at the end of the day, I already know. I prepare myself for things I know are going to eventually occur because the masses insist on fighting with each other instead of fighting with the people who are causing the problems. And I'm fine. I'm going to feel bad for everybody else when our empire collapses. It already started. We're already in a civil war.
That we love our students. We want to be back in the classroom. We cannot wait to be back in the classroom with our kids. But it's not going to be under the status quo that we've always had to accept. We need to change things, and we need to do it
Now.
So turns out they're not.
So that's a thing that's happening in our state. I plead with you people to do your own due diligence. Like I said, if you're a school teacher, get the budget. Learn what all those numbers for whatever this abbreviation is, which is time consuming, but you guys are educators. If you work together, it's easier for you to go through a budget than what it was for me. I spent hours researching just one district's budget. Found 3 spots to where at the end of the day, Mr. Roscoe tells me that that money, $100,000 at least, 3 spots in their budget. That money doesn't touch the kids. And it takes too many people to change it, to agree to change it in our state. So that made me learn more about the school system and how the state controls it with the union. Here's another thing that Jimmy come up with, right? Here, let me show you how we go. Now this isn't in our country, but they're already doing it in other countries. So Finland. Right here. This is in Australia what they're doing. And they're going to do it to you folks too.
You can do whatever you want.
Watch.
I'm here with America's comedian Kurt Metzger. Guess what's happening in Australia? Guess what's happening to Australia? So they're still angry at the people who didn't get vaccinated, even though the vaccines don't stop you from getting COVID. Everybody I know got vaccinated. Everybody I know got COVID. You imagine if everybody you knew got the polio vaccine and then everybody got polio?
Somebody at a show, because I always ask, how many, who had 3 shots and 3 COVIDs and like tied. Somebody had 4 shots and COVID 4 times.
That's how it goes. So
that's amazing.
What it seems
still
like.
Angry at the unvaccinated. Why? Because the government and the media in Australia is 100% bought by Big Pharma, I guess. And watch this.
Hundreds of Queensland teachers will have their pay cut as punishment for not getting vaccinated. While the teachers are now allowed back in the classroom, the financial penalty will be felt for the next 18 weeks.
Okay, I'm gonna play that again for you in case you missed it. This is what they're doing with unvaccinated teachers. They're going to let them back in the classroom. But what are they going to do?
Hundreds of Queensland teachers will have their pay cut as punishment for not getting vaccinated.
Wow. So they can still teach. They can still work and endanger the children, but they have to take less money to do it. That's considered fair dinkum in the Outback.
That's in the Constitution.
That's in the Constitution. Do you hear what they're doing? So if being unvaccinated, the reason why you'd want to punish those people is because they're a threat to others. Well, why would you allow them back in the classroom if they're still a threat to those kids?
Because it's not about that.
Because it's not about that.
Yeah.
That's why. Because that's very good, Kurt.
So Jimmy's got, I like his take on different events that occur, because that's exactly how I see them through my eyes, worth of paying attention and listening to good folks like you going through all your different issues that you have. I don't have any money wrapped up in the stock market. I do not have 401k. I don't have a pension, and I don't want it. I truly believe that I do not want money, free money, that I didn't earn, that somebody else, some other red-blooded, hard-working American citizen earned, made. I don't want their money. I want them to have their money because they earned it in that whatever job they have. Just like I wish I could have all my money at the job I work at for my work. Not everybody else's work, my work. The work I do, if I got paid for it, I'd probably actually be middle class. But instead, no. They don't share the money the correct way. They put it in the stock market to where we know when it collapses, there's winners and there's losers. And every time I meet real people that were losers, us, the bankers aren't losers. The corporate CEOs aren't losers. They pull their money out just like how the investors of the teachers fund are doing it right now. So, good luck to all and to each their own. Hope you got something from this. Like, share. This election I am pushing for. Stop voting for Democrats. Stop voting for Republicans. Go and vote. Just vote for third party or independents and then third party. To let the Democrats and Republicans know that you're willing to show up. You just ain't voting for them until they actually do things they say they're gonna do, and it actually works because they came up with a system where, hey, we got to make this work instead of all that fraud with all these different people with their hands in the cookie jar. I don't play in those things because I see it's a scam. Good luck to all and to each their own. Hope you got something from this.